Want to know the latest and hottest music hitting the airwaves? Don't be left out. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. It keeps you on the loop with everything you need to know from pop, rock, hip-hop, and the top 40. And we'll throw in news of your favorite artists, concert and tour dates, and so much more. Listen no further, because this is the gold standard in music podcast.
Thank you for listening to the GSMc Music Podcast, brought to you by the GSMc Podcast Network. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown, the music lover constantly seeking positive music. I'm going to apologize early on because I'm in a different setting recording this today, so any background noises, please excuse those. There's only so much I can control. But let's get into some music news. Alright, so Snoop Dogg and Gayle King are still in the news. I reported that he shared how upset he was with Gayle when she brought up sexual assault allegations from 2003 in an interview with former WNBA star Lisa Leslie. He has since apologized, and Gayle King says she accepts Snoop Dogg's apology. The CBS anchor says she's sorry that her interview last week added to the pain of people grieving over Kobe Bryant's death. Fulton County District Attorney Office is evaluating new evidence and considering opening a formal investigation into the circumstances surrounding James Brown's 2006 death. DA Paul Howard Jr. confirmed to Billboard that they met with a woman named Jackie Hollander, who said that she had relevant evidence. Hollander told the DA that she believes Brown died under suspicious circumstances and was possibly murdered. Hopper said the DA said they would also attempt to interview some individuals that she provided names to determine whether there are facts to back up Hollander's assertions regarding Brown's death. The DA plans to make an evaluation in the next 6 months whether or not to move forward with any kind of official death investigation, according to Hopper. Now, Jennifer Hudson is coming to the All-Star Game to perform a tribute to Kobe Bryant. Other additions to the NBA revealed is DJ Khaled, Quavo, and Lil Wayne will join the previously announced Grammy winner and Chicago native Chance the Rapper during Sunday night's halftime show. Queen Latifah will be joined by Chicago youth to perform Stevie Wonder's Love in Need of Love Today during Saturday's events, and the Chicago Children's Choir will sing the Star Spangled Banner before the Rising Stars game on Friday night. Man, every weekend, like I said last week, every weekend there's been something from the Golden Globes to the Grammys to the Super Bowls to the Oscars. Now, the NBA All-Star Weekend. It's been lit. 2020 has been lit. Now, Eminem's Lose Yourself sees 300% sales bump after his surprise Oscars performance. J. Cole has been tapped as the latest Puma ambassador. Nipsey was a Puma ambassador. Now we got J. Cole. The sports apparel giant announced on Thursday that they agreed to terms on a multi-year partnership with the Dreamville leader. With Cole on board, they have major plans in store for 2020. Our partnership with Cole is deep-rooted, said Adam Patrick, Puma's global director of brand and marketing. Cole is involved in product creation, marketing campaigns, and cultural guidance. He is going to be a key player in many of the things we do at Puma moving forward, and we're excited to work with him not only on a product level, but even more importantly, as one of our athletes. Cole sits at the intersection of music and sports and represents everything that Puma stands for as a brand. Coinciding with the deal announcement, Puma is rolling out their Sky Dreamer, the brand's newest basketball silhouette, which also hits Puma and Foot Locker shelves starting on Thursday as well. The reimagined Sky Dreamer brings back an 80s Puma classic with a retail price of $130. Them ain't no 80s classic prices. Cole has been spotted in the white sneaker out in public on multiple occasions. Cole is teaming up with Puma for a short film to tell his story and connection to the brand, which will debut during Sunday's NBA All-Star Game on TNT. Now, Madonna earns her record-extending landmark 50th number one on Billboard's Dance Club Songs charts, as I Don't Search, I Find rises on the February 22nd dated survey. Now, Madonna outpaces runner-up Rihanna, who has notched 33 number ones. Beyonce and Janet Jackson follow with 22 and 20. And Madonna additionally becomes the first act to have scored at least one number one on dance club songs in 5 separate decades, having held 9 in the 1980s, 13 in the 90s, 18 in the 2000s, 9 in the 10s, and now 1 so far in the 20s. Madonna is also the first act to ever score as many as 50 number ones on any single Billboard chart, extending her record over George Strait, who has earned 44 leaders on Hot Country Songs. Search is the 4th dance club song leader from Madonna's album Madame X. So Pearl Jam is old school, but they ain't too old school for augmented reality. To hear a snippet and pre-order their new single, Super Blood Wolf Moon, fans can go to moon.pearljam.com via their mobile device and point their camera phone at the moon. The regular moon will turn into a bright red Super Blood Wolf Moon, and the song will automatically start playing. Now, Rihanna's Savage and Fenty lingerie company has been accused by consumer watchdog group Truth in Advertising, that's TINA.org, TINA.org, of deceptive marketing and illegal business practices, and is urging the federal trade commissions to take action. Now, according to TINA.org's investigation into Savage and Fenty, the web-based lingerie company has been deceptively promoting product prices that are only available to consumers who are bound to the company's membership program. But the watchdog group says this information is not clearly disclosed in its marketing materials. As well, Tina claims that, by default, customers are enrolled into a negative option offer called the Extra VIP membership without clearly and conspicuously disclosing all the material terms and conditions, such as that consumers must opt out of the membership to avoid reoccurring monthly charges. Tina.org also contends that customers are told monthly charges can be used as store credit whenever they want, but that in reality, the company prohibits consumers from using store credit unless they spend $49.95 or more. $49.95 or more, then you can use store credit, which they said is not disclosed in the marketing materials. When customers try to cancel their memberships, the watchdog group says they encounter unnecessary difficulty. Now, Baz Luhrmann, who made Moulin Rouge, The Great Gatsby, and the Netflix hip-hop series The Get Down, is producing an Elvis Presley biopic. Maggie Gyllenhaal, Tom Hanks, Rufus Sewell, and Austin Butler will star in it. Legendary rockers The Who debuted Break the News and She Rocked My World at Prism in London earlier this week. And while they will be going on a UK tour in March followed by a US leg, singer Roger Daltrey proved that he still needed to learn the lyrics to Break the News, which was written by Pete Townshend's brother Simon. "I'm in the first stages of the dreaded late 70s, he says, before they gave the song another go. Daltrey said before they give the song another go, okay. So I'm in the first stages of the dreaded late 70s, and the memory ain't what it was. I've never sung this song before live. I might have to read it. Simon is such a great songwriter. For years, he's done his songs at my solo shows, but it's great to find a song that actually fits on a Who album. It fits really well. Let's try it. There is YouTube footage in which you can see him reading the lyrics. Rage Against the Machine shares their plan to combat ticket scalpers. We are doing everything we can to protect 90% of the Rage Against the Machine tickets from scalpers. They reveal that up to 50% of tickets are taken by scalpers, and then we are holding in reserve 10% of the seating, random seats throughout each venue, to sell at a higher ticket price, but low enough to undercut the scalpers. And to keep with their mission of charity and activism, they will be donating 100% of the money over the fees and the base ticket price to charities and activist organizations in each city. They also plan to donate the profits from their first 3 concerts to immigrants' rights organizations and will continue to support multiple charities and activist organizations throughout the tour. We hate scalping as much as you do. That's in all caps. And we'll continue to try to find ways to combat it, they said. Now, the band The Cure has 3 albums in the works. The first one will definitely be out soon. We're wrapping it up now and it's going to be mixed. But until it's completed, no one will believe me. I look forward to coming out more than anyone else. Trust me, said Robert Smith. On the heels of her upcoming album, Miss Anthropocene, not sure if I pronounced that correctly, Anthropocene, Grimes has shared a new track titled Delete Forever, a song that she says was kind of about the opioid epidemic. She says, it's a pretty bummer song. In an interview with Beats One, Zane Lowe, oh my God, I'm so bad at talking about this song. I guess this song is kind of about the opioid epidemic and that kind of thing. Cause, I've had quite a few friends actually pass away. In particular, one friend when I was 18 passed away from complications related to opioid addiction. She also revealed that she penned the tune the same night that Lil Peep died. It's just artists keep dying and stuff, she said. So I wrote this song on the night Lil Peep died or whatever, cause I just got super, super triggered by that. Joyner Lucas is finally set to release his new album, ADHD, next month. Talking to Instagram, he revealed the March 27th date alongside the previously released cover art. You ready for March 27th? He asked. During an interview with Apple Music's Beats One earlier this month, the Massachusetts rapper explained the reasons for the delay. There was a lot of business stuff happening with me transitioning from getting off the label, becoming independent, stuff like that. ADHD is coming in March, definitely in March. Before March is over, ADHD will be out in its entirety. He also shared plans to release 2 additional full-length projects in March, since about 50% of his music on ADHD is already out. He has no plans on touring. Big Sean, the Detroit rapper, put Nas, the Queen's icon, on blast. Taken to his Instagram story on Wednesday, Sean posted a video of Nas in the studio where he revealed that a new album is on the way. By the way, Nas dropping an album. He said, with the camera turned to Nas, "Hey, I'm putting Nas on blast right now. You finna drop?" Nas responded something like that. "I get kind of hard to replace me." Or "It get kind of hard to replace me, man." Alright, so in honor of Valentine's Day, Kehlani and her boyfriend YG are set to drop their new collaboration, Conclusions. That's right, I'm gonna have to check that out. But let's take a break and return with tour news and what's hot globally.
Always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Welcome back to the GSMc Music Podcast. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown. On to tours and festival news. Def Leppard have announced a new slate of fall dates for their 2020 Vision Tour. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees will welcome fellow rock legends ZZ Top on select dates. The fall dates will launch on September 21st at Times Union Center in Albany, New York. The 16-date trek will run through Tennessee, Virginia, Alabama, Louisiana, Nebraska, Michigan, and more. Scheduled dates will come to a close on October 18th at Spokane Arena in Washington. UK grime rapper Stormzy announced on Thursday morning that he is postponing a scheduled Asian tour due to fears of the coronavirus. I was seriously looking forward to bringing the #HITH World Tour to Asia and playing some epic sold-out shows. But due to the ongoing health and travel concerns surrounding the coronavirus, I'm regrettably having to reschedule this leg of the tour, he wrote. The rapper said that the information about the rescheduled dates will be announced soon. The news comes on the heels of a number of other events that have been called off due to the fear of the virus, which has infected more than 43,000 people globally and caused more than 1,300 deaths in China so far. The 2020 edition of the Luck Reunion has announced its lineup. Lucinda Williams, Orville Peck, Margot Price, and Luck headliner Willie Nelson are all set to perform at the day-long festival held on Nelson's Luck Ranch outside of Austin. Slated for March 19th, the Luck Reunion brings together left-of-center artists who are both preserving and progressing American music. Luck is also defined by frequent collaborations and a sense of intimacy, especially for the lucky few who pack the ranch's chapel stage. Now on to the top 10 songs played in the United States according to Apple Music. Roddy Ricch's The Box is still number 1. Future featuring Drake, Life is Good, been sitting number 2 for a couple of weeks. Number 3, Roddy Ricch reclaims his spot from Lil Wayne with High Fashion. Number 4, Mustard Ballin' moves from number 5 to number 4 this week. Nicki Minaj did have the number 5 spot with Yikes, but Lil Baby moved back up with Something to Prove. Number 6 has a new visitor, Young Boy Never Broke Again with Knocked Off. And Young Boy Never Broke Again is number 7 with Fine With Time. Number 8, Justin Bieber featuring Quavo and Tensions. Number 9, Jack Boys Out West. Number 10, The Baby refuses to be anything but top 10 with Bop. Now let's compare that to the top 10 songs played globally according to Apple Music. Roddy Ricch, The Box, still sits number 1 in the US and global. Future and Drake are number 2, like in the US still. Roddy Ricch, High Fashion is number 3. Number 4, The Weeknd, Blinding Lights. Number 5, Justin Bieber featuring Quavo and Tensions. Number 6, Tones and I, Dance Monkey. Number 7, Dua Lipa, Don't Start Now. Number 8, Justin Bieber, Yummy. Number 9, Eminem, Godzilla. And number 10, Mustard and Roddy Ricch, Ballin'. Now, what have I been jamming? I still haven't had a chance to listen to much music, but I did get one spin out of that new D-Smoke Black Habits album I was eager to hear. D-Smoke is a legitimate musician. He comes from a musical family. You hear all that in the album about his mom singing, and she did some Eminem campaign that basically helped supply the family's finances for years. So yeah, listen to the album. You get to learn about him, his family, which is, to me, like a great sign of a true artist. If I'm learning about you through your music, if I listen to your music and I know absolutely nothing about you, there's a problem there, at least for me. So, and in fact, speaking of him coming from a musical family, his brother is R&B singer Sir, and he joins him on Closer to God and Lights On. Now, D is also a songwriter, composer, singer, rapper, and has a lot to say in both English and Spanish. The album met my expectations due to his deep, like on a Kendrick, J. Cole, Tupac level. The album feels classic, reminiscent of hip-hop albums in the 90s with the interludes and the transitions. I was really digging the top of the album with Bullies, No Commas, Gasper Yanga. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it's featuring Snoop Dogg. It's him repping his Inglewood town and or neighborhood. And Sunkissed Child with Jill Scott, I was really feeling as well. I'm looking forward to spending more time with the album. Now, I ran through Birds of Prey, the album. It was aight. The songs were cool. I'm sure I will appreciate them more when I watch the film, which I'm actually going to do tonight, so I'm excited about that. But the music is hella random. I mean, it's rap to alternative to R&B. I'm sure it matches the eclecticness of the cast, but when it comes to albums, I prefer a consistent feel. It didn't have strong hits like the Suicide Squad album with 21 Pilots, Heathens, and Kehlani's Gangsta. I was really hoping for a gangsta-esque song, but because that album didn't have it, I had to throw back to the Suicide Squad album and listen to Gangsta. So I guess my throwback song would be Kehlani's Gangsta. Now, since I reported earlier that the death of James Brown is being looked into, I thought it would be cool to cover him in the music history segment. So, now according to allmusic.com, James Brown is known as Soul Brother Number 1, the godfather of soul, the hardest working man in show business, Mr. Dynamite. Those are mighty titles, but no one can question that James Brown earned them more than any other performer. Other singers were more popular, others were equally skilled, but few other musicians were so influential over the course of popular music. And no other musician put on a more exciting, exhilarating stage show than Brown's. Performances were marvelous, of athletic stamina and split-second timing. Through the gospel and passion fury of his vocals and the complex polyrhythms of his beats, Brown was a crucial midwife in not just one, but two revolutions in American music. He was one of the figures most responsible for turning R&B into soul, and he was, most would agree, the one figure most responsible for transforming soul music into funk. Fittingly, his music became even more influential as it aged, since his voice and rhythms were sampled on innumerable hip-hop recordings, and critics belatedly held his innovations as among the most important in all of rock and R&B. Brown's Rags to Riches to Rags story has a heroic and tragic dimensions of mythic resonance. Born into poverty in the South, he ran afoul of the law by the late 40s on an armed robbery conviction. With the help of singer Bobby Bird's family, Brown gained parole and started a gospel group with Bird, changing their focus to R&B as the rock revolution gained steam. The Flames, as the Georgian group was known in the mid-50s, signed to Federal/King and had a huge R&B hit right off the bat with the wrenching churchy ballad, Please, Please, Please. By that point, the Flames had become James Brown and the Famous Flames. The charisma, energy, and talent of Brown made him the natural star attraction. All of Brown's singles over the next 2 years flopped, as he sought to establish his own style, recording materials that was obviously derivative of heroes like Roy Brown, Hank Ballard, Little Richard, and Ray Charles. In retrospect, it can be seen that Brown was in the same position as dozens of other R&B one-shots, talented singer in need of better songs, or not fully on the road to a truly original sound. What made Brown succeed where hundreds of others failed was his superhuman determination, working the Chitlin circuit to death, sharpening his band, and keeping an eye on new trends. He was on the verge of being dropped by King in late 1958 when his perseverance finally paid off as Try Me became a #1 R&B and small pop hit, and several follow-ups established him as a regular visitor to the R&B charts. His style of R&B got harder as the 60s began. He added more complex Latin and jazz-influenced rhythms on hits like Good Good Lovin', All Go Crazy, Think, and Night Train, alternating these with ballads that featured some of the most frayed screaming to be heard outside of the church. Black audiences already knew that Brown had the most exciting live act around, but he truly started to become a phenomenon with the release of Live at the Apollo in 1963. Capturing a Brown concert with all its rolling, devilish energy and calculated spontaneity, the album reached #2 on the album charts, an unprecedented feat for a hardcore R&B LP. Now let's take a break and return with more music history.
Searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMc Music Podcast. Now let's get back into music history. So James Brown's Live at the Apollo was recorded and released against the wishes of the King label. It was this kind of artistic standoff that led Brown to seek better opportunities elsewhere. In 1964, he ignored his King contract to record Out of Sight for Smash, igniting a lengthy legal battle that prevented him from issuing vocal recordings for about a year. When he finally resumed recording for King in 1965, he had a new contract that granted him far more artistic control over his releases. Brown's new era had truly begun, however, with Out of Sight, which topped the R&B charts and made the top 40 in pop. For some time, Brown had been moving toward more elemental lyrics that threw in as many chants and screams as they did words, and more intricate beats and horn charts that took some of their cues from the ensemble work of jazz outfits. Out of Sight wasn't called funk when it came out, but it had most of the essential ingredients. These were amplified and perfected on 1965's Papa Got a Brand New Bag, a monster that finally broke Brown to a white audience, reaching the top 10. The even more adventurous follow-up, I Got You, I Feel Good, did even better, making #3. These hits kicked off Brown's period of greatest commercial success and public visibility. From 1965 to the end of the decade, he was rarely off the R&B charts, often on the pop listings and all over the concert circuit and national television. even meeting with Vice President Hubert Humphrey and other important politicians as a representative of the Black community. His music became even bolder and funkier as melodies was dispensed with almost altogether in favors of chunky rhythms and magnetic interplay between his vocals, horns, drums, and scratching electric guitar. Heard the best advantage on hits like Cold Sweat, I Got a Feeling, and There Was a Time. The lyrics were not so much words as chanted stream of consciousness slogans, often aligning themselves with Black pride as well as good old-fashioned or new-fashioned sex. Much of the credit for the sound Much of the credit for the sound he devised belonged to and has now been belatedly attributed to his top-notch supporting musicians such as saxophonist Maceo Parker, St. Clair Pickney, and Pee Wee Ellis, guitarist Jimmy Nolan, backup singer and longtime loyal associate Bobby Bird, and drummer Clyde Stubblefield. Brown was both a brilliant band leader and a stern taskmaster, the latter leading his band to walk out on him in late 1969. Amazingly, he turned his crisis to his advantage by recruiting a young Cincinnati outfit called the Pacemakers, featuring guitarist Catfish Collins and bassist Bootsy Collins. Although they only stayed with him for about a year, they were crucial to Brown's evolution into even harder funk, emphasizing the rhythm and bottom even more. The Collins brothers, for their part, put their apprenticeship to good use, helping define 70s funk as members of the Parliament Funkadelic Axis. In the early 70s, many of the most important members of Brown's late 60s band returned to the fold. To be billed as the JBs, they also made records on their own. Brown continued to score heavily on the R&B charts throughout the first half of the 70s, the music becoming more and more elemental and beat-driven. At the same time, he was retreating from the white audience he had cultivated during the mid to late 60s. Records like Make It Funky, Hot Pants, Get On the Good Foot, and The Payback were huge soul sellers, but only modest pop ones. Critics charged with some justification that the Godfather was starting to repeat and recycle himself too many times. It must be remembered, though, that these songs were made for the singles radio jukebox market and not meant to be played one after the other on CD compiles. Okay. And not meant to be played one after the other on CDs, as they are today. By the mid-70s, Brown was beginning to burn out artistically. He seemed shorn of new ideas, was being outgunned on the charts by disco, and was running into problems with the IRS and his financial empire. There were sporadic hits, and he could always count on enthusiastic live audiences, but by the 80s, he didn't have a label. With the explosion of rap, however, which frequently sampled vintage JB records, Brown became hipper than ever. He collaborated with Africa Bambaataa on the critical smash single Unity and re-entered the top 10 in 1986 with Living in America. Rock critics who had always ranked Brown considerably below Otis Redding and Aretha Franklin in the soul canon began to reevaluate his output, particularly the material from his funk years, sometimes anointing him not just Soul Brother number one, but the most important black musician of the rock era. In 1988, Brown's personal life came crashing down in a well-publicized incident in which he was accused by his wife of assault and battery. After a year skirting hazy legal and personal troubles, he led the police on an interstate car chase after allegedly threatening people with a handgun. The episode ended in a 6-year prison sentence that many felt was excessive. He was paroled after serving 2 years. Throughout the 90s, Brown continued to perform and release new material like Love Overdue, 1991, Universal James, 1992, and I'm Back, 1998. While none of these records could be considered as important as his earlier work, and did little to increase his popularity. His classic catalog became more popular in the American mainstream during his time than it had been since the 70s, and not just among young rappers and samplers. One of the main reasons for this was a proper presentation of his recorded legacy. For a long time, his cumbersome discography was mostly out of print, with pieces available only on skimpy greatest hits collections. A series of exceptionally well-packaged reissues on Polygram changed that situation. The Star Time box set is the best overview, with other superb compilations devoted to specific phases of his lengthy career, from 50s R&B to 70s funk. In 2004, Brown was diagnosed with prostate cancer, but successfully fought the disease. By 2006, it was in remission, and Brown, then 73, began a global tour dubbed the 7 Decades of Funk World Tour. Late in the year, while at a routine dentist appointment, the singer was diagnosed with pneumonia. He was admitted to the hospital for treatment, but died of heart failure a few days later, in the early morning hours of Christmas Day. A public viewing was held at the Apollo Theater in Harlem, followed by a private ceremony in his hometown of Augusta, Georgia. Just prior to his death, Universal's Hip-O division launched an extensive James Brown reissue series called The Singles, which contained both sides of every 45 he released between 1956 and 1981. The first volume appeared in September 2006, the last in 2011. R.J. Smith published the biography The One, The Life and Music of James Brown in 2012 to widespread acclaim. 2 years later, Brown was the subject of the biopic Get On Up, featuring Chadwick Boseman as Brown, as well as Alex Gibney documentary Mr. Dynamite, The Rise of Mr. Brown, which was produced by Mick Jagger. Universal released 2 live archival projects, Live at the Apollo, Volume 5, September 13th through 14th, 1972, and Live at Home with his band Self during the second half of the 2010s. Whew! That was a mouthful. I mean, what else can you say about James Brown? He definitely was played in my household. I definitely grew up singing and dancing his songs, and I mean, they were easy to sing along to because there wasn't much lyrics other than please, 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 please. But we're running short on time. I do want to squeeze in, since it is officially Valentine's Day, a breakup song. I've been doing this series of the 35 best breakup songs. We didn't go through all 35, but the final one is Eminem's Kim. Now, this is like a super explicit song. According to Spin, it says, while most artists will use an alias in lieu of the person they are referring to, M straight up calls out his high school sweetheart turned wife, turned ex-wife, turned again wife, turned ex-wife again. It's just, it was a hot mess. But let's just go through these lyrics. They're pretty freaking crazy. Just keep in mind, it's like a conversation, and then it goes back and forth from Eminem to his wife. So I'll try to do the 2 different voices so that you know. So, this is 2000. Yep, lyrics from 2000. Look at daddy's baby girl. That's daddy's baby girl. Little sleepyhead. Yesterday I changed your diaper, wiped you, and powdered you. How did you get so big? Can't believe it. Now you're 2. Baby, you're so precious. Daddy's so proud of you. Sit down, bitch. You move again, I'll beat the shit out of you. Okay. Don't make me wake this baby. She don't need to see what I'm about to do. Quit crying, bitch. Why do you always make me shout at you? How could you just leave me alone? How could you just leave me and love him out of the blue? Oh, what's the matter, Kim? Am I too loud for you? Too bad, bitch. You're gonna finally hear me out of this time. At first I'm like, alright, you want to throw me out? That's fine. But not for him to take my place. Are you out of your mind? This couch, this TV, this whole house is mine. How could you let him sleep in our bed? Look it. Kim, look at your husband now. No! I said look at him. He ain't so hot now, is he, little punk? Why are you doing this? Shut the fuck up. You're drunk. You're never gonna get away with this. You think I give a fuck? Come on. We're going for a ride, bitch. No! Sit up front. We can't just leave Haley alone. What if she wakes up? We'll be right back. Well, I will. You'll be in the trunk. So long, bitch. You did me so wrong. I don't want to go on living in this world without you. So long, bitch. You did me so wrong. I don't want to go on living in this world without you. You really fucked me up, Kim. You really did a number on me. Never knew me cheating on you would come back to haunt me. But we was kids then, Kim. I was only 18. That was years ago. I thought we wiped the slate clean. That's fucked up. I love you. Oh God, my brain is racing. I love you. What are you doing? Change the station. I hate this song. Does it look like a big joke? No. There's a year-old little laying dead with a slit throat in your living room. Ha, what? You think I'm kidding you? You loved him, didn't you? No! Bullshit, you bitch. Don't fucking lie to me. What the fuck's this guy's problem on the side of me? Fuck you, asshole. Yeah, bite me. Kim, why don't you like me? You think I'm ugly, don't you? It's not that. No, you think I'm ugly? Baby, get the fuck away from me. Don't touch me. I hate you. I hate you. I swear to God, I hate you. Oh my God, I love you. How the fuck could you do this to me? I'm sorry. How the fuck could you do this to me? So long, bitch. You did me so wrong. I don't want to go on living in this world without you. It just repeats the so long, bitch. You did me so long. Did we go on to her? I can't. I'm scared. I said, get out, bitch. Let go of my hair. Please don't do this, baby. Please. I love you. Look. We can just take Haley and leave. Fuck you. You did this to us. You did it. It's your fault. Oh my God. I'm cracking up. Get a grip, Marshall. Hey, remember the time we went to Brian's party and you were like so drunk that you threw up all over Archie? That was funny, wasn't it? Yes. That was funny, wasn't it? Yes. See, it all makes sense, doesn't it? You and your husband have a fight. One of you tries to grab a knife, and during the struggle, he accidentally gets his Adam's apple slice. No! And while this is going on, his son just woke up. He walks in, she panics, and he gets his throat cut. Oh my God! So now they're both dead, and you slash your own throat. So now it's double homicide and suicide with no note. I should have known better. When you started to act weird, we could have, hey, where you going? Get back here. You can't run from me. Kim, it's just us, nobody else. You're only making this harder on yourself. Ha ha, got you. Go ahead, yell. Here, I'll scream with you. Ah, somebody help me. Don't you get it, bitch? No one can hear you. Now shut the fuck up and get what's coming to you. You were supposed to love me. Now bleed, bitch, bleed. Bleed, bitch, bleed. So long, bitch. You did me so wrong. I don't want to go on living in this world without you. It repeats that. Now, okay. That is the ultimate, I don't even want to say that's a breakup song. That's the ultimate murder song. It's dark, it's depressing as hell, it's full of violence, which I don't condone. I can't believe I used to love that track in high school. Now, to be honest, it was kind of hard to listen to, especially to read those lyrics to. That was pretty horrible. My apologies, and my apologies for the cursing. But hey, those were Eminem's lyrics. If you're really that upset and sad this Valentine's Day, maybe you want to give that song a spin. I definitely appreciate your time. Thank you for listening to the GSMc Music Podcast, brought to you by the GSMc Podcast Network. Until next time, I'm Gaelika Brown, the music lover constantly seeking positive music.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMc to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.